Am I enjoying Recore? God damn it, it was so close to being an awesome game. Overall, I'd say I am enjoying Recore a lot, but it's so plagued by technical issues that it makes it a very hard game to recommend. Basically, think of The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, where you have an overworld with stuff to do, and then there's a ton of dungeons where you'll be making most of your progress. There's a lot of platforming, puzzle solving, and combat. The movement is awesome. You have a double jump and an air dash from the start, and it's used in very creative ways, making for some very fun platforming challenges. The combat has a lock-on auto-aim, so it's more about dodging attacks and using your abilities and those of your robot companions, which we'll get to in a second, and not really about aiming. Also, you have 4 different damage types, which you can change to match the color of your enemies for some bonus damage. There's a lot to worry about. There's depth. The combat keeps you engaged. It's not a brainless thing just because you don't have to aim. It's just not your typical third-person shooter. Your robot companions and their cores have a level of customization that is very compelling too. Each robot frame has a core, and you'll be able to exchange this core into other frames later in the game. These cores can be upgraded, and so can the frames, with materials that you find out in the world or obtained by killing enemies. The robots themselves are very charismatic. They each have their own personalities. They're very likable. The story overall also has an interesting premise that I find it compelling so far. And it all just sounds like such a great game because it has a ton of interesting ideas, but then it's got so much jank that it's a hard sell. Playing it on Xbox One, it has a ton of frame drops, making it infuriating during combat. The loading screens are the worst. They can take up to several minutes, and this is a game where you're getting loading screens all the time. Every time you change an area in the open world or every time you enter a dungeon, they're very frequent. I've heard the PC version of this game is good and gets rid of these problems, and this being an Xbox Play Anywhere title, meaning you buy it once and have it on both platforms, that seems like the best alternative. I just can't do it on the PC myself, not yet, because I'm in Europe and the game isn't out yet, so I'm stuck with the Xbox One version so far. But there are some other things that the PC version will not fix, because that's just the nature of the game. There are a ton of technical bugs and glitches. There's minor stuff where your companions walk through walls or platforms don't really exist. I mean, I guess the platforms not existing can be a major issue. And then you also have stuff like invisible walls that prevent you from breaking the game too much. And I've had a ton of fun breaking the world with my platforming, getting to places in ways I wasn't supposed to, like Skyrimming my way up a mountain or use my double jump and air dash to reach some crazier platforms. But it's once you hit an invisible wall or invisible ceiling that the fun goes away from that stuff. Also, if you climb a mountain too much, there's this bar that fills up with radiation and you're dead within 3 seconds. There are many other reports of game-breaking bugs where you just fall through the world, respawn, fall again, and need to restart the whole game, and these are really just a few examples. The overworld design is something that I also don't really like too much. It starts off well, but then there's this bigger area that's just empty, so you're kinda just running and shooting enemies and it feels like busy work. And everything about the menus is incredibly janky too. Upgrading your cores takes forever. There should be an option that makes this stuff go faster. Converting some of your crafting materials into better versions of themselves also suffers from the same problem. And occasionally you'll find the game gating your progress with these so-called prismatic cores. Prismatic cores are basically collectibles. You find them in the world, sometimes you have to figure out how to platform your way to them, sometimes you have to defeat a powerful creature to get it. They're all over the place and I've been having a lot of fun collecting these things. So gating hasn't been a problem for me yet, but since I was loving this game and still am despite the jank, and the reviews came out and they were so underwhelming, I had to read what that was all about. And it seems that this gating stuff is the big culprit. So far I've only had to collect like 2 or 3 extra cores to meet the requirements of the next dungeon, but reviews are saying that further into the game there's an insane requirement for you to finish it. Almost like the mid-section of this game was cut off. It has a solid beginning, well paced, and then since they didn't make enough content to fill in the middle, they pretty much just told you, hey, you have to collect more stuff to finish the game. I haven't encountered this yet, maybe it's further up ahead, and I can see the game being very frustrating if you don't like collectibles, even the best types of collectibles, because I think these are just really good. But I'm 7 hours in, haven't felt that yet, so maybe I've just been collecting these things more than reviewers, or maybe I'm still gonna encounter that hard door that says that I need 2,000 prismatic cores. I don't think there are 2000 prismatic cores. I don't know. What I do know is that this is a game that feels good gameplay-wise, has some really neat and innovative ideas, has a unique setting, a unique style, but it is plagued by technical issues. Jank everywhere. What do you guys think? I'd love for this to be The Legend of Zelda for Xbox One, and I hope the game does well because I want more of this, minus the bugs, please. Will you guys give this a shot? What other Zelda-like games do you think Xbox has that perhaps could replace this? Leave your thoughts in the comments below while you're down there. Click the like button if you enjoyed the video and subscribe for more gaming goodness. I've been Globku. Thanks for watching. Boy.